Welcome back into the workshop, and what have we got here? Well, here we have got some goodies that have just been delivered by my friendly courier. And these are die holders for, of all things, dies, and they hold them. So now I can use, hopefully they're the right size, now I can use the dies to thread a bolt with a 14 by 1 millimeter pitched thread, which will be used to replace this. This is a 6 millimeter M6 millimeter rod, threaded rod, and it has a 1 millimeter pitch. The downside of it is 6 millimeters and a bit floppy when it's a bit long. So I'm upgrading to something that has a 1 millimeter pitch, and it happens to be 10 millimeters. I think it's 10. And that would be a lot more rigid, and because it's got a 10 by 1 millimeter pitch, because I bought the matched die and tap, I'll be able to use it in the manner that I enjoy using this. Fractional rotations of the thread advance this by that same fraction in millimeters. So one full revolution is 1 millimeter. 1/2 revolution is 1/2 millimeter. So that's standard for 6 millimeter. 10 millimeter, not so much. So I'm going to tap a bolt, the unthreaded section of bolt, and at some stage get some 10 millimeter rod and thread that. So this is what I needed the tap holders for, and I hadn't realised, which I kind of did, but I hadn't realised the tap, or the die holders in fact, they come in different sizes. I had a set, a cheap one, and it didn't have the right thread size, and it was just all the dies were the same size, because it was a cheap one. Anyway, that's arrived. These are some stops. They're T-track type stops. I thought I'd give them a bit of a go, and there's a couple of uses I'd make for that. So that's going to be quite interesting, or could be quite beneficial. I've got some of these because I thought they might be an idea. They've got the, I think, an 8 millimeter thread on them, and so that's possible. I'd actually thought about using them in this situation here if I had to clamp things down. So that was one idea, but I'm finding this doesn't need it. When I'm using it, anything that the parallel arm, and I love it, but anything that I'm running past has got, it's moving in this direction, and that is the direction that this collapses on in direction. When I'm using the track saw and it's actually spun around, I just slide it around and orientate it around the other way. Again, not really necessary for the track saw because you're not running anything past it, but it works well. So left or right. The other thing is that there can have, I'm going to say, another way of using it. I won't even say that, but the concept here is these clamps, which have just arrived, which are 100% better. Actually, I'll just show you them. And these are the other ones I've got, looking pretty much the same in concept. Well, they are, but they don't work as well as this. These are, I don't think the quality is in them. They look nice, to be fair, because the anodizing is a wee bit of a red herring, I think. They are what they are, but they're wobbly on the end, which may or may not be a good thing, and they're wobbly in the thread, which may or may not be a good thing. But those kind of like coloured my opinion. But I saw these and I thought, I like the idea of the ratchet. You can use to advance or retract that. Turn it the other way. Of course, it goes back the opposite direction. The thread is a lot better matched between the dog and the thread, and on the end there's virtually there's no discernible movement between it and the shaft. Now, the reason I like that is, it's going to clamp a lot better, because it's stable, but it can also be used in a not dissimilar format as that, because it's static and easily able to be adjusted precisely. So there will be a situation where I can use this as a stop, not dissimilar to its big brother, this one. Now, a lot of the engineering in this is pretty second to none. It's really, really good, but that's just acting as a stop so you can push material up against it and chop it, cut it down, be it track saw or miter saw. But this can also be used in that same scenario, just a smaller version of that. Doesn't have all the other goodies on it, but this is static and won't move. Now, let's just take that with me. If I can get it out, it's a nice firm fit in there, which is always a good thing. So I come over to the saw, the miter saw in this case, and this is my adjustment. It is tight. It is a lovely fit, that is. But this is my stop for the miter saw. Still think it's good. But you can pop that in your bench dogs, and you can dial this and you can actually refine it down to literally hundredths of a millimeter. If you really were wanting to, which, why not, if you can. And then when you move it around, it retains its fidelity, its accuracy, different measurement, but the accuracy, because you've set it up beforehand. And that, as I say, can be dotted around anywhere you want or be used anywhere else. Something that you can knock up in your own workshop. This, ditto. We can put it in place eventually, and at the moment I can't, because it doesn't have the holes that go right through, and it takes a double thickness. But that can be placed into your workbench, and because it's now static, you can use that as your stop. Turn it in whatever degree you want, measure as you want, and you've got a really simple, not a clamp, but a gauge, a stop for your track saw, your miter saw. I think that's got a lot going for it. And it was all these things in the back of my mind. If they can be used for more than one thing, grab it, see how they work. If they don't work, there's no loss. But if they do, as this can, why wouldn't you? Now, I'll give you a little bit of an insight. If it's out this way, it could give you a false reading. I'm going to accept that. But hey, that is not bad inclusion, because I don't have the track system set up to make use of these in that situation where I'd want a flip style stop. So if I had a track that I could put that in, which I don't really want, I've just got this for other, trials. I could use this, flip it out of the way, and yay, that would be a good thing to have. This, once it's pushed down, if it's sitting down properly, is a very robust thing to run timber against, because these, there's always that issue or thought that it might bend it or break it or do something. Probably not. No, it shouldn't be that rough, but I know me. So this, you could hit to the, like hard, and it's not going to alter. You'd have to indicate where the position of it is, etc. And that is where this comes back into play. This is removable, replaceable, and it is static. Once you've set this, lift it up, move it. I've just moved it 50 mil. I can make my adjustments. There is a reference issue there, which I've talked about before. But this has, I still think, for its cheapness and almost roughness, has a lot of advantage over either that or that. But this is going to be used in my workbench, in the miter saw, quite a bit. And it can be popped out. Because I've got two of them, I can set the two up to different measurements. And that sometimes is necessary. And the measurement won't be simply a matter of 50 millimeters, moving at 50 millimeters. It might be that it's a fraction. One of the things that I used to do, I don't do now, but the principle stays the same. I used to cut my dwangs or noggings for the frames for my house that I'm building, and I used to cut them at 555 millimeters, or if I was being really, really nice, 554, to make sure that the misgauging of timber didn't foul anything up. But that sort of measurement, I could set this up to be placed in a specific point in a top like this, and I know that when I lifted it back from wherever it was being stored and put it in that particular hole, it's 555 for the blade. I could have a second one cut up and have it some distance away, and I cut my other studs at 2335, or I think that was 2335, and that allows for a top plate, bottom plate, and a ceiling plate, and something like that. I can't remember the actual measurement right at the moment, but something like that. And I could have that one set so that when I put it back into my hole, back down the other way there, that would be set as well. Normally I just stick a nail or a block in the on the table, quite often just a plank or some such that we use on site. But I did have in fact, a version of this that is industrial that had a flip out thing, and I had two of them on my miter saw and side tables. That was a really, really good system, and it cut out quite a number of houses doing that. Full house, so a lot of cutting, and it was efficient. So all of these things, when I see them, I'm going, "Oh, I've got a use for that." Pop it in there. Put my ratchet on it, and away I go. Even use my wee spanner. Okay, that was it. That was just the things that got delivered. I'm still waiting for a couple of other things, but all of these are working towards an end goal, and that's and I made a comment in another video, and that's making our woodworking, our workshop, at least experience, more enjoyable and more, efficient. We come out, we do something, we know that we're going to get the results we had anticipated, and you carry on. Simple things like this little parallel arm system, gauge or fence, I really, really like. And even though I've stored them away at the moment down there, I can come out here, cut my material with my track saw, move it over to here, and using the same parallel arm, turn it around. For this, I can dimension it down to the last fraction of a millimeter using the router rather than the saw. Accuracy, precision, efficiency, less frustration. It's got to be a plus. Yeah, so got a few things that I can play with now, but I've got other stuff that I need to do before that. So, yippee, moving in the right direction, hopefully. Rightio, that's it. Cup of tea time. And with that, I will bid you goodbye, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye now.